an armory.
Alright, Sunny. So, to defenders, I'll go over armor and gear first. So, you have different rarities of gear. You have mythical, that's the level 74, transcendent, the level requirement is 78, and obviously the rarity gets better as it goes up. So you got mythical, transcendent, supreme is level 83, ultimate's level 90, and there's also like an intermediate ultimate that requires level 93, and then there's ultimate plus and ultimate plus plus. Those are the rarest, and those require level 100, so you have to be max level to use those. So basically, you want to get as good of stuff as you can get. Right now, I have this Ember Scepter on. Most accessories stay in the Supreme range. I haven't ever seen an Ultimate accessory before, so they're all Supreme is the best they get. But yeah, so basically with gear, you want to base it off of the hero that you chose. So I have a monk right here. I have all of my points from, like, look at these. It's terrible stats for like a hero, but the defenses are really good stats. So all my armor is upgraded into those stats that I want it to be defensive. So you have your character split up into two. You have your tower heroes, and then you have your DPS heroes. So usually DPS monk is the best. DPS it's the most well-rounded. You can do most bosses with it. So using that gear that you got, you can just keep getting better and better gear. Obviously, builders are more important early game than DPS characters are, because you're gonna want to be able to farm more armor before you start being able to do the harder maps and killing the bosses. So early on, you're not gonna be able to kill hardly any bosses on Nightmare Hardcore, but once you get mythical armor, you can farm maps on Nightmare Hardcore. So, starting off with that, so you've got your DPS. So I'll go into detail a little bit. This video is a little long. I'll probably upload another one after this, but just a few things to note. For a builder EV, you want nothing else matters except for this beam damage. Nothing else matters. If you have an armor that's really good in beam damage and everything else sucks, it doesn't matter, because if the beam damage is good, it's going to buff all your defenses, and that's fine. Your summoner, you're going to want mostly damage. I have mostly HP, because once you get to the harder maps, it's better to have maxed out HP than it is damage. Max out the damage, make sure all of your other stats are well-rounded. Your builder, so this one, your most important one is going to be your tower defense. And then your attack rate is going to be second most important. Range is still pretty important, because otherwise, it's not going to be able to hit anything. Health pretty much doesn't matter, because if your defenses are getting hit, then you built wrong. But with your apprentice, if your apprentice towers are getting hit, you built wrong, so you need to work on that. But yeah, so you basically got your builders. I'll explain when we play a little bit more about the details of why I have some of these characters, like 2 different guardians and what they do. Like, go more into details pretty much once you get more into the game. But yeah, basically you're going to want the Jester. I'll explain Jester because he's going to be your second most important character besides your builders. So you're going to want a genie. He makes mana for you from attacking. That weapon I gave you before makes you mana based on how much damage you do. So that genie, if you get you a genie, that'll be fine. But you're going to want damage doesn't really matter, as long as you have a good weapon that can kill ogres pretty quickly. But you're gonna want to put all your points in hero casting rate, because that is what is going to help you upgrade faster. But yeah, for your DPS heroes, I'll go into a little bit in like 30 seconds. So you have resistances, right? With your armors, you're gonna want to have higher resistances. Your armors cap out 41% on each armor will get you to 90% in Nightmare Hardcore, which is what you want. So you're going to want 41 on each one of your armors, like resistances. And in order to get a resistance upgraded, so you, like, I'll show you on this one. So you can always upgrade a resistance on the 9th upgrade. So you see it's at 9. I can upgrade the resistances, they glow green. So then I can click 9, or I can hold down shift and it'll just add 9. So if I just keep, so the Transcendence is weird because they boost from 40 to 42, which is kind of weird. So Transcendence, really you shouldn't cap out your Transcendent armors to, like, in resistances, just because if you have Transcendence, you'd be able to farm better Supremes and Ultimates with Transcendent armor. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of the gateway armor. But yeah, so basically, with your DPS heroes, you want to cap out the resistances. Your tower heroes, you don't need anything besides the tower stats. Auras, obviously, you want damage mostly, and then range and aura effect speed are pretty important as well. And then HP on most of them isn't really the most important, unless you have like a wall EV just for making walls, so like minions can't get through. So I mean, it's all fine that way. But yeah, that's the end of the first video, just showing you a little bit about armor and gear and what you can do to get better armor and gear, and what kind of priorities you should have when getting armor and gear. Okay, so the different kinds of armor, so those are the different kinds. There's also different rarities, so just like with the the weapons, there's also rarity of the armor. So for they go in the same order as the weapons did: mythical being the lowest, then transcendent, then supreme, then ultimate, then mid-tier ultimate, and then ultimate plus, and then ultimate plus plus. So obviously the armors get better the higher the rarity goes. And then I'll go ahead and show you kind of the benefits of having a set. So what a set is having 4 pieces, a chest piece, a headpiece, gloves, and boots of a singular type of armor. So I have 4 pieces of leather, and it gives you a boost. So you see how it has that blue ring around it? It gives you a boost for having those. So let's say if I take off, so let's take a look at this. My minion health is 6,413, and then if I take this helmet off, dropped all the way down over 1,000, so just by taking 1 piece of armor off. So they're not glowing blue anymore, and they give you a ton less bonus. The stats are still really good for not having a set on, but so you see how so this helmet has 772. So then, if I switch this off, this is the helmet that was just on. It has 551 now. So with the set, it boosts each stat that it has. So with the ultimate gets better boosts. So with rarity, the boost is better, like the percentage. So starting off with, let's just say transcendent. We don't need to go into mythical because you won't spend very much time there. So let's say do I have any transcendent builders? Let's see, transcendent armor on any of them will work. I know he's got some transcendent.
We've captured some pets.
Okay. He's not builders, not gonna be very easy. So for the purposes of this video, I don't really have a transcendent builder on hand. Let's do this. For the purposes of the video, I will be showing you the effects of having a set. and then I will show you the bonuses. I'll just explain so I'll put on this leather set that I have. I know I have all 4 pieces, I'm pretty sure. There it is. So yes, each set has a cap. So Transcendent, for the stats, caps at 420. You see the stat of that tower damage caps at 420. Now when it's boosted, it gets boosted to 559, and that's the cap, so that's where it stops for Transcendent armor. And then for Supreme, it caps at 500 regular and like non-boosted, and then 680 when it is boosted. And then Ultimate caps at 600, and then it gets boosted to 840 when it is when it's maxed out. So when you level it up to the 600 and then have it in a set, it gets to 840. So that's kind of the boosts of each one. Now the resistances are boosted based off of the rarity, of course. Like I mentioned in my last video, you get the resistances are better. The percentage boost is higher with the rarity. So the Transcendent, the resistances are going to take a lot more upgrades. Because you have to upgrade it to 41% to get it to max. It's going to take more upgrades, so Transcendence, it's really hard to get them to cap out in all the stats for resistances. Supreme and up, you can do it if you get a good enough piece of armor. So it's easy to get max resistances for Nightmare Hardcore on Supreme and Ultimates, and each armor you want to get to 41%, and that will cap it. So like I had mentioned, when you're first upgrading a piece of armor, you can upgrade the resistances as many times as you want, and then it will cap out at a certain point. So Transcendence cap out at 23. So if this is, let's see, it was a set, it would cap out at, I believe it caps out at 31, and then you upgrade it until it's 42%. Transcendence can't get to 41%. They go from 40 to 42 in a percentage jump. So yeah, kind of with the resistances, you want to get them up to 41 in each so that you can have maximum resistances, so you don't get booty clapped in Nightmare Hardcore difficulty. And then one thing that I wanted to mention that I didn't mention in the last video is the accessories. These cost a ton of mana to upgrade. Each one, you have to dump at least 30 billion mana into upgrading. So it's not worth it to upgrade your crappy accessories. So don't upgrade any crappy accessories such as like this. I would never upgrade that, or that. I would never upgrade anything that's not a map reward. So there are some accessories that are map rewards and you want to farm those. Obviously, I can explain those to you another time. But with this video, I'm trying to keep it a little bit more short. But yeah, so you want to keep resistances for DPS characters are the most important. Obviously, with your secondary stat, whatever you want are focusing on with that character. Once you cap out each resistance to the cap, that is when you want to switch. So just for the purposes of this video, I'll cap out a piece of armor. That's not got the best. So we'll use the same piece that I was using last video. So you notice that I have 42 in this one, so I'm not going to touch the generic damage resistance bonus. But, so if I put 9 points into it, so you want to keep putting 9 points into each one. It's better if you're well-rounded. Well-rounded so you don't die that much. But yeah, you want to keep just upgrading each one, upgrading your basic stats, your focus stat, until you get it maxed out. And then once you get that to 90, you'll have a character that looks like this. Capped out 90s, Nightmare Hardcore difficulty. So 41. This one's lacking because it had lower upgrades, so I believe if we were not lacking a little bit. But it's not the biggest deal because it'll be 1%. Switch it to yeah, see, it's 1% in each, so it's not the biggest deal. It's best to have it obviously capped out. With me having just reset my characters, it's there were some moves that weren't saved because they weren't good enough, like weren't rare enough for me to say, oh yeah, I'll keep that. So, but yeah, for the purpose of this video, it's kind of how the armor works and the percentage boosts and such. So when you're building your characters, make it in sets, and then try and make it varied, the sets that you use, so that you, when you get a good piece of armor, you can just have one character per person, per set, per type that you would put on each character. So, but yeah, that's the end of this video, and look forward to the next one.